Hello, and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back with issue 36 of the Hachette Partworks release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. Okay, so what's in the magazine today? Bigas Lunas Titanic. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrongly. Again, another Titanic production. And, yep. Some more on that film. Theft from the Titanic. Oh dear. So yeah, people stealing things from museums. Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen was the site of a theft of a Titanic relic in 2011. 99 years after the ship sank. Not very nice, but that's people for you. And that's all. We're on to the instructions now. So the magazine has more articles if there's less to do, and fewer articles if there's a lot to do. Them's the breaks. But let's have a look at what's in the box for issue 36. Okay, so in the box we have lots. We have a whole host of AP screws. We have a whole host of EM screws. We have this large silver bracket. That's the bottom part of the steam turbines, I believe. And we have these, I believe these are condensers, or for either side of the turbine. There's one. Big massive screw holes are a bit ugh, but you know, it's what it is. You need to be able to fit them together. And there again is another bracket. The other condenser. The adjoining pipework. Quite a lot in here. And another piece of the engine room floor. So this is going to be absolutely massive by the time we're finished. So let's see what we're doing first. Okay, so the first thing we need is the turbine. And to that we're going to be fitting, as I said, the two condensers. Now it is labelled R, and the inside of the condensers have an R and an L stamped on them. So this one says R, so it's going to go over here. I do think they will only fit one way. Yep, just like that. And they are held in with an AP screw, in fact 2 AP screws. So screw that in. Now see, remember me talking earlier on about having a screwdriver with a long enough shaft. Just give me 2 moments, I'm going to need to source myself another screwdriver. And as if by magic, a screwdriver appears. So yeah, not as nice to use, I must be honest, this screwdriver. Not as ergonomically friendly, and I don't think it's magnetic either. Yeah, seems to hold it well enough. Nope, it's not magnetic. That's disappointing. So before I use this screwdriver again, I'm going to have to magnetise it. Okay, so that's that one nicely screwed on, and then the other side do exactly the same. Again, quite a nice, it's almost a satin chrome effect on these turbines. Very nice. It is plastic, but it doesn't look cheap. I hate using an unmagnetized screwdriver. But it's just far too much work to go all the way to my toolkit and get my magnetizer. For the sake of 2 more screws. Suppose I could just have glued it down like I did with the last one, but I'm just going to drop this one in. Save trying to fight it with the screwdriver. There we go. And there we are. That's that all together. So the next thing we need, now it says you're not going to need glue for this. I shall be the judge of that. So the first thing we need is this pipe here, looking just like that. And now these are designed so they will only fit in the correct pipe, because you can see the 2 D-shaped attachments are completely different sizes. And they are going into that hole there. So it'll be this one with the smaller D shape on it, because the other one's far too big. And it is nice and snug, yeah, it doesn't need glued. It goes on like that. And then the other side, the exact same, goes in like that. Very nice. Now we take these, and they are getting fitted like this. Let me see, just make sure I'm doing it the right way. So it goes like that. Yeah, and these are being fitted so that the neck part is facing upwards, and they will only go in one side because those 2 pins are offset. So if you try to put it on the wrong side, it just won't fit. It goes in like that, and the other one goes in the other side just like that. Ooh. That's very, very tight fit on that bit. You want to make sure it goes all the way in, otherwise it's going to look terrible. Just use my screwdriver to open that hole up a little bit, because again, with the best will in the world, injection molded plastics, you're always going to get slight inconsistencies, but there we go. That is the turbine, the condensers and the steam pipes all assembled. That looks pretty good, pretty impressive. Obviously that's going to be fitted to the engines. Now, the next thing we need is the engine room floor. So I'm going to have to take my engines off, because I had fitted them on for storage purposes to save any breakages. And the next thing we're doing is taking this piece here and fitting it on with this side facing towards these mounting points. So it'll fit into the screw holes on the bottom, so it has that hexagonal hole towards the thrust blocks. And again, that's getting fitted with 3 AP screws. And we're going to need 3 more in just a minute, so I'll get all 6 of them out. And I'll put the spare one back in the bag, as always. Now, fortunately, I'll be able to go back to using my magnetised screwdriver for this one. Whoop, whoop. And turn that onto its side. I don't want to put it upside down and risk damaging those lovely little thrust block pieces, but equally need to make sure it all stays lined up. So here we go. Very nice. See, these 3 screw holes just there. again, does it need all three? Possibly not, but I'm going to put all three in. I think the front two would probably have been enough, but they're there, the holes are there, might as well put it in. Okay, and that is the base for the turbine. That's all they're calling it, is the turbine base. Now the next part we're fitting is the extension for the engine room floor, and that bit looks like this. So again, we need to turn this over, and it lines up thus, and then we have 3 AP screws to put in there. So if I can get the middle one in first, with a little bit of difficulty, trying to manoeuvre everything about, because this is now very, very long. See the length of that? It's so long, in fact, that it doesn't fit on my camera anymore. Again, I can now turn this upside down, I suppose, because that will protect the thrust blocks, but I would still rather not to, if at all possible. Again, the next one goes in just here. Again, nice and tight, but it doesn't need to be too tight, and you don't want to strip the plastic thread out. And there we go, final one. Okie dokie. And that is the engine room floor. Now it tells you to bring the engines over, and it actually tells you that it told you to make a mistake in the first engine. It tells you that obviously that bracket in there is on backwards, and it tells you that and says, yeah, go back and fix that now. Before you try and fit it. I'm just sitting here casually turning it. Don't think... yes. Now, when I fit this in, I'm not going to do it properly because you need to move this wee pipe out the way. But when I fit this in, it's a very, very tight fit. You can see there, it's very, very tight between the thrust block and the actual pulley there. So what I'm going to do is, just to make it a little bit easier, I've got a little file, and I'm just going to file just slightest little bit off the end here, just the paint really, to give it a bit more clearance between the thrust block and that pulley. Because the last thing you want is for it to be rubbing and catching. And then, because I did issue 35 just a few moments ago, I still have the bag of grease, which is a tiny little bit left at the bottom. I'm just going to dab that on to the end of that pulley to stop it rubbing. Perfect. So, now we've got the engine all ready to go. We can push it up to the thrust block. Need to keep this pipe up out the road just now until all this lines up, and the pipe will almost automatically go into the hole it's designed to. And you can see that already turns far more smoothly than it did previously. Yep, fantastic. And now, this bit is going to be the toughest bit, in my humble opinion, because we have four EM screws that need to go in to the engine to hold it in place. Which means I need to turn it upside down to put those screws in, while trying to make sure that nothing falls off. So these are the holes, 1, 2, and you can't see 3 and there we go, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to fit this one first, largely because it's the easiest to reach. Now they're not particularly long screws, but once you've got one in, you're pretty much home free with it, because it's not going to go anywhere. And then once I've got that screw started, I'll move my thumb to hold the back end of the engine, again being very, very careful where I'm holding, because I don't want to be breaking bits off. And to me, the hard part is going to be fitting the port engine. Again, apologies that you can't see, but I'm putting one of these other screws in, and then the final screw on the starboard side, the port side, goes in just here. So if I can find somewhere to put my finger, it allows me to put pressure. Because it's going into metal as well, it makes it slightly more difficult to get the screw in, but that's it. The port engine is fitted, and I can turn it like that, and you can see it turns absolutely fine. Fantastic. I was concerned about that, and it also tells you to take the shorter end of this and thread it through. Now obviously you're going in blind, there we go. Oh, very nice. That turns fantastically. Perfect. Nice one. So, now I'll do the same with the port engine, the starboard engine, sorry. The other side, I'll do the same with the other side, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so that's both engines fitted, and as you can see, both of them turn absolutely beautifully. You can see there, you can see the engine turning, and the same on the port side. Now the reason I get mixed up is because when I saw the shape of this, I assumed that would go to the bow, and that one would be port and that one would be starboard, but no, it's the other way around. So, confusing, but yeah, it is the way it is. But yeah, that's that. So we don't fit this piece just now, although obviously it kind of sits there, and then those pipes plug into these pipes, but we've not to do that yet because there's more stuff to go in here. But that is that, and as we can tell, the gearbox will go on, I would imagine, don't know, can't tell. The gearbox will sit there, and these will plug into the gearbox like that, so I can mock it all up and show you exactly what it looks like. So that is what it's going to look like. That is absolutely stunning. But that is also it for issue 36. Thank you for watching. And that concludes issue 36 of Titanic, the Ship, the Legend from Hachette Partworks. And that also concludes our almost Titanic marathon, to catch up with where we were, because that's me. I am now waiting for issue 37, 38, 39 and 40, so that's me completely up to date now. What's in issue 37? Well, the motor. So after issue 37, we'll be able to test it and see if the engines work. I mean, they do, because I've just tested them. but here we are, and I'll show you what the mocked up version of the engine room looks like. So we have the gearbox there. We then have the cylinders there, and then the engine's just there. And I'm going to take that away and take the gearbox off, because again I can show you that when the gearbox is going to turn that, the engines spin magnificently. And it's a bit harder to show you the other side because of the way I'm sitting, but yeah, exactly the same. You can see they both spin very, very well. It wouldn't have done so if I hadn't taken that half a millimetre or so off of the port side flywheel. But you know, it is what it is. You do what you've got to do to make your model work the way you want to. I can't stop playing with these. They are absolutely fantastic. But yeah, that is that for now. Sorry, that is that for now. So once the next 4 issues come, I will get them out to you as quickly as I can. But again, as always, thank you very much for watching. And again, as always, peace out. But you can't see it. Peace out, everyone.